All right, so when we're working through stuff here with Snap, if you're looking at your notes here, that's the 5.03 mouse events that's in the thing here. It talks about adding in some stuff here. The very first thing it talks about is, and I'm just going to record this in here. It talks about this where it's def on mouse press X comma Y. Anytime you see this def in Python, that's where you're defining a function. So basically back here when we're doing this, where we've got the def that's here, notice how it will change colors as soon as you do that. That's saying this is a function that you create. This is like when we made the custom blocks in Snap, how you made a block and you defined it. This is you making a custom block in Snap where you just have to put DEF. You're defining a function, and then it tells you we're going to call this thing on mouse press, and then it's X comma Y. All right, and when you put the colon at the end, that basically stops the definition of this function. So this would be us in Snap making a block that's called on mouse press, and we're going to use X and Y for the parameters. That's our input we're going to plug in this thing, and then you can tell it to draw something. So if you hit enter, notice how it tabs in. That basically it's saying, all right, this is everything inside here. So first thing is we're going to draw a circle, and we're going to do it at X comma Y. We're going to make it with a radius of 20. All right, if you run it, looks like nothing happens. Okay, but you've got to go over here and click the mouse. So when you click your mouse, every time you click your mouse, it's going to draw a circle. If you don't like the black circles, then you can go back in here and do X comma Y radius 20, and then you can go in and do your fill color. Do sky blue. And now when you do that, you can make a sky blue circle. So everywhere you go back and click your mouse, it's going to draw that. Okay, so and that's one of those specific blocks in Python that if you put on mouse press on there, it will actually define it and say, all right, where you put your mouse here, you can do it. Now you can make these variables whatever you want to. You can call this, kind of like we're doing before. These are your variables. You can call this Bob and you can call this Larry. Now, if you put that here and click on it, it's going to be an error message because you didn't use Bob and Larry here. So basically, you go back over here and you put Bob here. You put Larry there, and now it will draw a circle everywhere you do that. What do I do? Two Y's. Oh, sorry. Okay. There you go. So it doesn't really matter what you name those. Now, it doesn't make sense to name it Bob and Larry because that doesn't mean anything. So that's one where maybe where you want to call this. You can even call that where you're going to put your mouse. So that's the mouse X and the mouse Y. Like the capital letters, you can do it lowercase. Just make sure that whatever you do, you do the same thing twice when you define those functions back here. All right, I'll make sure I got everything spelled correctly. Okay, I do. Okay, so that's basically what you're doing. Now you can tell it to do a bunch of things. If you tell it you want to draw a circle, then you can also turn around and tell it to draw a rectangle at mouse X comma mouse Y, and you can tell it to be a 30 by 30 rectangle. Now every time you draw it, you've got a circle and a square. For that part of it. So you can kind of go that route of it. If you want the square to not be very bright, you can go back in and change the opacity of it. And you can have it so that that's going to equal, that you're going to divide it by 4. So that as you move farther along your axis, what did I forget there? X is not defined. Oh, that would be mouse X. Whoops. So that should be mouse X. So as you move along, you're going to see that it will get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as you move along. Or if you start here, it's going to get brighter as you kind of move up there. So you can make it so that every time you click on that one, you will do something like that. So here's what we're going to do with that kind of thing in here. In the 5.03, where you've already got this part in here, it's telling you to then go back in and draw a flower, where you're going to have a flower that when you click on this thing here, it's going to draw a flower that's then going to connect it back to here. So what you have to do where it says the pass is you're going to take out the pass, and it tells you to draw. I think it tells you to use a circle and a star. So if you look at your pictures that were back here, you should see that when you get finished, when you click on it, basically you've got something like this, that you've got a circle and a star and a line that goes back into the middle of the vase here. Okay, and this is the starter code that you have, so you need to draw a star. So when you draw a star, you can just put star, and you can just tell it how many the numbers you've got. So mouse, we'll get mouse X, the capital X, mouse Y, and then you tell it how many points that you want it to have, or the radius of it, and then how many points do you want on the top. All right, so when you're going through these, again, whatever the variables were we had here, which again, the way we've got this set up, our variables are going to be mouse X, mouse Y. We're going to tell it where to go for this one. And again, you can adjust this to be whatever you want it to be. If you want to change the colors on it, be a pink star. That way, every time you run it, and no matter where you go with it, you've got a pink star that's there. Okay, so what you've got to do then is it tells you to, if you look at your picture here, it's got a star. You've also got a circle there, and then you've got a stem that's being drawn back to this point, which is your line. So basically, you're going to have three things in there. You're going to have, we've got the star that's in there now, and again, you can make it ever how many points you want to make it. So if you want this to be a 8-pointed star, you can have it be an 8-pointed star. If you want it to be a 4-pointed star, you can make it a 4-pointed star. But then have a circle that's drawn in the middle of it here also, and then draw a line that will go from your mouse X, mouse Y back to this point here in the center of the vase, where it will kind of have it go from that part. So that's what you need to work on, that part of it, just to kind of see what you can do with it.